Be like, it's the same thing. You just change it around because you
Yeah.
just haven't seen people in a while. Either that or something else
Yeah.
involved, you know. But yeah, that's cool. But
Yeah, everything with him, you know, it's funny. Arjun Chai with Muay Thai and Sifu Fong both, everything with them is a test.
mm,
Everything with you know, it's always he changes things to see can you pick it up.
mm,
He changes things to see if you haven't been around for a while.
mm.
He changes things to see if oh you haven't been working that, huh?
Oh,
Training with him again was long distance, and so there were times that he would do drills with me, and as soon as I got the drill, he would change it and go do something else. And I was like, no, let's work this for a little bit. No, you got it, Dan, you got it. And I'm like, no, sir, but I want it. He said, oh yeah, you got it, good. We move on to something else. And boy, it was frustrating because I really wanted to be able to work that. And years later, I asked him, I said, why did you do that to me? He said, well, Dan, I'm going to see you all the time. So I'm trying to give you as much information as possible, give you the feel, you understand the feel, and I knew that you knew the feel, and you were going to go home and work for it. He said, some people work, some people don't, and then you were going to go work it. And so you get back, and he would like, oh, that's very good, that's very good. And then there were things he would do, here, I want you to see it this way. This is for you. Do it like this. This is for you. Don't do it with anybody else. This is yours.
oh wow.
And when he first did that, I was sort of like, why only for me? I don't understand. He said, don't do this with your students. Do it for you.
Huh.
And it was later on as I grew in the system, and of course began to understand what his teaching method was in those certain aspects, was that he wasn't giving me anything special. He wasn't giving me anything. He was giving me a different perspective to look at something.
Oh.
And once I was able to break it down and reverse engineer it, everything that he gave me over here was this. It just didn't look like it.
Oh wow.
The way that it was being applied was different.
Yeah.
The way that it was to be utilized is different. And he said, well, yeah, you got that, but it's yours. And then there was things that I came back to him and said, okay, I'm playing with this. This is what I've come across. This is how I think that I would apply. Oh, that's good, that's good, that's good. Don't show anybody that. I said, so I'm on the right. Oh yeah, it's good, Dan, it's for you, it's good. That's good. Do it this way. Teach it this way. I said, but if this is good, well, it's good for you. Teach it this way. Let them discover on their own. Okay. So there are a lot of
I'm having my
times.
moments right now with you.
Sure.
When you
And
say things like
and
that.
sometimes it's here's the core material. Here's the core base of way you do things. And then from there, there's all kinds of offshoots that you can go, as long as you don't go too far out, where you lose the base of the material. But the way that you perceive that base may be different from me, and that's okay.
Right.
How do you apply what your understanding is?
Yeah.
And what have you discovered that works best for you?
Right. Right. Because we're not the same people.
Exactly. we all have our strengths and our weaknesses, and so that was a lot of his teaching. Learn the base.
So
teach the
basically,
base.
he's basically trying to tell you that don't copy me.
Exactly. You're
Be
not
you.
me. You're not me. Be you. Right.
That's right.
But in learning it, keep the core.
Right.
Pass on the core. Let them make their decisions on where they want to go. You can guide them by following the core. Now there are those people, I think, which stick strictly to the core. And so anything that you're doing that's a variation of that is wrong. Well, I think they're wrong.
That's the part where you say compartmentalizing it.
Well, yeah, they're stuck in this aspect.
Right.
Well, you know, if you went to school and you only do what you learned when you were in school ever and never change it and never advance from that, then
you're not going to learn.
you're not going to learn. You're not going to grow.
Yeah.
You've wasted all of that time. You know, think of a doctor. A doctor goes to medical school. They learn how to operate, do all the different stuff, and then they go out and they start practicing. You know, after 10 years, 15 years of practice on your own, you better have learned something new. Okay, so we accept that, but we won't accept that in the martial arts?
Exactly.
It dumbfounds me. I mean, you should have grown it, and you should have made something that's specific to you and your method.
Right.
You know, so people would rather point a finger and say, well, no, what you're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
You know,
This happens a lot. Happens a lot.
well,
You see it on those Reddits and the YouTubes and all the other
yeah,
blogs and stuff.
but we're all different.
The keypad warriors is what we call them.
Yeah, we're all different, and so I think that's, and Sifu Fong is a life teacher.
Yeah.
He teaches you how to live, you know, and how you live. Live your life. Don't live my life. Live your life. You have things that you can do that's much better than me. Go do those things. That's good. You know, so he was really good with that. And then he's just been a really good mentor as far as an instructor goes. And
Now, quick question with his weapons training. I know they have weapons training at Wing Chun. Of course, I've done it with you. How did he emphasize it a lot, or?
Not in the beginning, no. Now he knew that I was training in Pekiti. Once he learned that I was in training Pekiti, he was very, very excited about that. And so he would correlate a lot of things, Wing Chun to Pekiti, or vice versa.
He knew Pekiti?
No,
But
he knows Filipino martial arts.
Okay.
Yeah, he trained
Multiple arts.
multiple.
With Danny also.
Yeah.
Danny
Inosanto.
Santo.
Yeah. And so, and in his knowledge of the human body and the human movement.
Yeah.
So understanding movement, understanding what's available within the movement, he can coordinate, and I think good instructors can do that anyway.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
As long as you're open-minded to those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So he was able to correlate those things back and forth to me. So it's like speaking two languages, you know.
Right.
If I only understand English and I'm trying to have a conversation with a Frenchman, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
But if the Frenchman also understands English, then we can continue to have a conversation, and he can along the way teach me some of his French. Same sort of thing. You know?
Yeah. Good way of putting
So
it.
different perspectives, you know.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's the beauty of what I've learned from him.
Yeah.
What I love about Wing Chun is the knowledge of your body and your positioning.
Yeah.
Your positioning.
And it's like you said, like it can be here for somebody else, but for you and him and Chief Francis Fong, it's like this to him.
I think Sifu Fong is much narrower quarter than mine is, by all means.
Well, what was it? How you guys used to say what he says to you whenever you guys are training? He would say something about you're too open, or you train something with the.
Oh yeah, I mean we used to
What did he say?
well, just at different times. Yeah, Dan, my window for him to attack was this big. Now he's gotten me down narrow, and that's the thing. So now the difference between me and him is the difference between you and I. Okay, so my window is this small, his is that small. Your window is that small, mine's this small. So
Right.
That relationship.
That ladder of climbing.
Right,
Yeah.
that ladder of climbing. So I'm still working to get my window smaller than his.
That's amazing when I hear that from you. It's like, wow.
And yeah,
It's like, I think your window's not that big, dude.
So, but there's a difference between training with those that I have trained
Right.
and brought up, and me turning around and going to him. He's just on a different level.
Yeah.
So you know,
Yeah.
and there'll always be that. You know, there'll always be different people at different levels, and there'll be other people that I have trained students that I feel are better at Wing Chun than I am, and that's actually. And I've done that in the same thing with Muay Thai. I've done the same thing with Pekiti. Same thing with some of the grappling stuff that we do. That they're far better than I am, and I think it should be that way.
Yeah, that's good.
And I'm proud of the fact that someone just recently asked about that. And I'm saying, heck yeah, I've got several people that I feel are better than I am in different areas and in different methods.
Right.
I said, I don't think I have anybody that's on the same level as I am across the board overall.
Okay.
But individual pieces of Wing Chun, absolutely. Pieces of Muay Thai, absolutely. They're far better than I am. Yeah, and I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
They should be.
It's good. That's why you're a good teacher, because you can admit to that. Some teachers don't even want to say that. They want to be on top of the crop,
Wow. Nah.
You got some people out there like that.
If you stand on top, everybody's shooting at you. So
That is true.
I'd rather make you better than me and put you up there than shoot at you.
You be the target.
There you go.
Yeah, go back to the Wing Chun training with the weapons, since you spoke about that, with the correlating it with Pekiti-Tirsia. And
Yeah, well, the bottom Joe, I may be totally bonkers with this, but my feeling when I look at the weapons work, once I learned the weapons in Wing Chun, I realized that everything I was learning empty hand was teaching me the weapon.
Really?
Everything I learned empty hand was teaching me the weapon.
But is that because of you doing Pekiti also at the same time with it? Or is it just something you just correlated?
And that may well be, Johnny, but I still, there are many, many things that within the Filipino martial arts that I've studied, with Pekiti being the deepest, that are very, very, very similar to Wing Chun.
Yes.
But the human body is the human body.
Right, you've said that many times.
And, all of the arts.
Well, you know what? I've noticed you've done some of the drills on the wooden dummy with us, and when we're doing it with Stephen Francis Fong at his school, well, C.I.A, for me, C.I.A. It's also involved with weapons, because whenever he does, his wooden dummy sets, certain parts where you have to get off the line, because that's not line of attack of a weapon.
We also do bottom Joe on the wooden dummy.
Oh, I have never done that.
Yes.
And then you know that.
Yes.
Wow.
So, yeah, anything that you can do with your hands, you can come back and correlate it to the weapon. There won't be. There's not a direct translation, but you can correlate those positions. So you think about gong sao, jab sao,
right,
or gong sao, tong sao. Either way, depending on which way you're going. Most of the time, from gong sao, it's going to be jab. Because if I go all the way to Ton is trying to drive the energy this way, and so I'm splitting my energy. So it's cutting across this way. When I go bong, I'm going to go Ton with the bong, because I'm still going in that same direction. Okay. So if I have a weapon in my hand, and I'm doing knives, and I'm doing this, that correlation is the same as this. So I present my weapons this way, because I present my arms this way, because mechanically that's the strongest. So everything that I learned from here is, if I have the bottom Joe, I'm still doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So I'm learning the mechanics of the body to be able to use it with the weapons. Now there are some slight differences because of your footwork and body positioning, because of the length of the weapon.
Yeah, because the bottom Joe is shorter.
That changes. Well, my arms are shorter than the weapons.
Well, that's
okay. So if he has a weapon, then that means he can get closer to my body with a weapon. So I have to use slightly different footwork and slightly different angulization of the body. So people say, well, some people say, well, that's restricted to the weapons. No, you just learned it with the weapons. And you didn't learn that footwork or that body positioning until you got to the weapons. But they all interrelate to each other.
Yes, that's awesome.
So if you may not have learned it there, but it's still part of the system. And so it doesn't mean that you can't use it if needed in empty hands. Same thing with a pole.
Yeah, the pole is a whole lot of level. Like whenever you taught that to us.
Right. And you're learning how to apply pressure way away from you. And so your hand-eye coordination is different. But when you think about the pole punch, right? And you think about the pole, poking with the pole, and the punch, the body mechanics is the same. And so I can do a pole punch that I learned from the pole and apply it in empty hands, not with the pole. Can I apply it with the bottom Joe? Yes. But I didn't learn it until I learned the pole. And you learn a different stance with the pole.
Yeah, it's a totally different stance.
it's a different stance and it's a different way to present the body. But doesn't mean that you only do it with the pole. You learned it with the pole.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's those out there saying, well, no, that's the pole.
Yeah, they just.
So you're saying if you don't have a pole, you can't stand that way? Certainly you can.
Yeah.
And certainly you can apply it. So it depends on how you want to apply what you've learned in the different parts of the system.
And I've noticed that the horse stance is involved with it so much in the pole.
Yes.
Like, that's like Shaolin stuff.
Well,
But then again, Wing Chun, I mean,
it is a Southern Chinese
Chinese,
martial art.
yeah, so they're all correlated. So see,
Yeah. So that's the big
so
thing.
nothing is pure.
No, I don't think anything's pure. And then and you can't tell me that people back then, and just as they do today, look at something and go, "That's pretty awesome. I can use that with what I've already known." So, oh no, now you're no longer pure.
Yeah.
Well, you weren't pure to begin with because that came from somewhere else anyway.
Right. When I read that on the blogs, I'm like, oh, well,
Yeah.
here we
So
go.
I don't put much stock into any of that stuff,
Yeah.
and Sifu Fong doesn't either. But you know, on the same note, when you're teaching, Wing Chun is a system, just like Pekiti-Tirsia is a system, and there's a systematic method of getting people to be able to get to that point.
Yeah.
And how do you use your body?
Yeah.
So you don't want to deviate from the system until you have that and you know and understand it. Now you start using different parts of the different aspects based upon your ability, not my ability.
Right.
Because you don't have my ability, I don't have your ability.
Yeah. You're not tall. You're not. You know.
Yeah.
You don't have my height. You don't have my
I'm
length.
I'm not left-handed,
Yeah,
so I'm
you're
not going to use it
left-handed.
differently from you. So,
Exactly.
you know,
Oh
yeah.
man, yeah, it's definitely part of that training.
Yeah, so I think that's what I got from him, even though when he's training, he's strict about staying to the system and stay with these drills and everything. But he wants you to experiment. Go figure it out for yourself.
Yeah,
And then
that's
you
why.
know, self-discovery,
Yeah,
again, to him is very, very important.
that's like a beautiful thing.
But many people don't do it.
Exactly.
So
That's
that's their loss, not his.
No, yeah.
So
Especially when he's telling you private, like that's yours.
yeah.
Don't show it
Well, I think it's because
because it's not gonna be the same.
exactly, someone else may not understand it or use it the way that you do. There's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. Yeah.
It's cool. And I was gonna say another thing with the wooden pole, the pole. I mean, not the wooden, the pole. I've learned the energy stuff out of it too. Like there's so much stuff that you can get from the energy out of doing a pole work. You know,
Yeah.
from what you've taught me.
Because it's that long thing and the leverage of the pole being way out there versus
Different weight, so you gotta know how to control it.
yes,
It's amazing.
yes,
It's like it's not like just a fishing rod. You know, you just throw it and it just go. Wing, you know, it's
yeah.
stuff involved with it.
But you don't, and I'm sure you didn't find that out until you played with it.
Oh yeah, you have to play with
You
it.
have to work it. You have to do all the exercises with it. You do the drilling and everything with it.
Right.
Then you come back and you got to wrap other people's poles. You got to play that game, and then it's like one day all of a sudden you go, oh,
Yeah,
and then there's lots of things I know for me.
there's a lot of power generation in it.
Yes, for me there were things I'm coming back and I'm doing Pekiti,
Yeah,
swinging a stick and go, that's what we're doing with the pole. That's how I'm using it. Or I'm doing empty hand stuff and going, that's where that comes from. Yeah.
it's beautiful. Self-discovery.
And when you have that, and that you have that epiphany, you know, you go, oh, it's mine now. So
That's beautiful. All right, so let's get on to Muay Thai now. Let's go Arjun Chai. When you're
Arjun-
training with him back then.
Arjun Chai.
So there was some brutal stuff back then with this training.
Sir, your Wing Chun, your Wing Chun pretty good, sir. Thank you, sir. We're not doing Wing Chun, sir. Your Muay Thai. shit.
He actually said that?
Oh, yeah. He said, we're not doing Wing Chun, sir. You know, sir, I cannot lie.
He said that.
You look terrible.
Oh. He said that to you?
Yeah.
And this is back, what, 90s? Mid-90s?
Oh, yeah, this is, 92, 93.
And this is in the seminars.
Yeah, I
Have you ever done private with him?
I've never done a private with Arjun Chai.
I don't even think he even did private, did he?
Yeah, I think he does. I've never talked to anybody that talked about getting privates with him.
That's
But,
funny. I've never heard of anything.
yeah, I'm sure that.
But anyways, yeah, let's talk about his training. How was it like with him and like?
My the first time that I ever trained with him, and I say trained with him, I went to a seminar.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure where the school was, so I got there about 2 hours early, made sure that I got to where.
What was this?
It was in Atlanta.
Yeah, okay.
And got to the school, make sure that it was there, walked in, talked to the people real quick, said, okay, I'm gonna go get a bite to eat, and I'll be back. Yeah, come back. So I kind of looked at the training area and all, and nice big open area. So anyway, went get a bite to eat, came back. When I came back, the first thing that I noticed when I walked into the school was there was 6 or 7 trash cans in the school, and I'm like, what the heck is with all the trash cans? Just never. Oh yeah, everybody was using the trash cans. Blah.
And what were you guys doing?
Kicking.
Oh,
Kicking.
Lord.
Just yeah.
Thai kicks.
We started off with
With the pads.
no shadow boxing.
Mm-hmm.
I want everybody to shadow box. He walked around, looked at everybody.
Did he say anything during the shadow boxing? Because I know he always has something to say.
Oh yeah, he was talking to different people and stuff. And I knew that there were people there that had been training with him for quite some time, and so he knew those people, and he's of course talking to those and walking around with other people. And
This is your first time.
this was my very first time, and I certainly didn't expect him to come and talk with me or anything. But he's just walking around, kind of talking to a few people and stuff, and saying hi to some of them and whatever. And then he had us line up, and that's his big thing. Everybody lines up in one big line, and then he counts off. Have everybody count off 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he lines everybody up.
Yeah.
Number 1, take 3 steps forward. Number 2, take 6 steps forward. Whatever.
It depends on how many students are there. Right?
Yeah, and that's how
He still does that.
He
Even
still
when I
does
went
it.
out there to learn from him.
That's how he lines everybody up. And then just went over, real quick, basic stance, nothing or anything. Showed the kick. Okay, everybody kick. And we kicked for about an hour. Just kick.
In the air?
Kick. No, on Thai pads.
Thai pads, okay.
Yep.
Woohoo.
Kick for 5 minutes, switch the pads over. The other guy would kick for 5 minutes, switch the pads over, kick, and that was it seems like that was the first hour.
Just the first hour.
I said, man.
Imagine your shins.
So yeah, my shins were.
Because you wouldn't temper like that.
Was not accustomed to doing that much kicking by any means.
Right.
And then he was walking around, of course, telling people different stuff, and every night he'd stop for a few minutes and have someone demonstrate a kick, and then everybody go back to kicking. Lift your body up, and
And that's your first introduction to a Thai kick.
that was my first introduction. Yeah.
Did you throw up?
No, I did.
Everybody else did?
No, what I did is I cramped up.
Oh,
Like,
oh.
yeah, but I didn't throw up. But
I've been there.
there were a
Cramped
lot
it
of
up?
people that were throwing up. After the first hour, we marched.
Oh, the infamous marching.
The infamous marching. We marched for 40 minutes.
Like, I'm not talking about like marching as in like military marching.
No,
it's
it's
Thai
just
march.
it's a Thai march. You get in your stance and just 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
That's how
Move your
important it
hands
is.
this way, and 40 minutes. I thought my right calf was going to
All
explode.
in first day of learning Muay Thai.
That was my first march for 40 minutes.
So that's why he said, "Isn't that Wing Chun?"
So
that's what he meant.
And after that, we started doing some combinations and stuff. And then it was always, harder, faster, harder, faster, harder, faster.
That's the external part.
And
There's a lot of
and a lot of people threw up. In the second, after doing the marching, I threw up. Oh yeah, I think he was trying to get everybody.
yeah. It sounded like it. That's what he's doing.
But and then we came back and did some elbows and knees and stuff, and that was my first introduction to Muay Thai.
And then after that, same thing, or change it up a little bit.
No, I forget this. He did some pad holding with some of the guys, and at the time, what he was doing with them, I disliked it completely.
Wow.
Because he was,
Interesting.
he was a pad holder, and he's feeding pads for them, and he's hitting the other guys, and you sort of like, if I can't trust my trainer to hold my pads, that he's going to beat me up with them, then why am I training with him? And then he would do
This
things.
is the beginning when you were learning.
Oh yeah,
You didn't like
this was my first session with him.
Yeah, you didn't like that.
I'd forgotten that he had done that, and then the school that we were at had a ring, and so he was having guys get in the ring, and so he was working with them in the ring itself, and then he would do things like he's holding pads, and then he'd stop all of a sudden, and he'd go, "Oh, what's your name, sir?" And of course, guys got their hands up, and oh, what's your name, sir? Oh, my name, boom, and he would hit them. And
That's annoying.
And I'm like, oh, come on. Yeah, that bothered me. But the other part of the training that I got was good. And then in talking with some other people, that he's a really, really good trainer. And I think, man, but that's almost on the verge of being abusive to your training partner or to your students.
Yeah.
And I really felt that.
I didn't know this.
And
This is interesting.
I went back, I guess later on that year to another seminar.
Did you get to do that with him?
No, he was only doing with his people.
Okay.
People
So he
that were
wasn't
already
just gonna go
associated with that. He was, yeah.
He wasn't just gonna go beat up on new students.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, he did that with several of them, and then, but I did go back to another seminar.
Oh, I thought you were gonna be like, that was it. I'm done.
I was close.
Oh, wow.
As a matter of fact, I almost left after that because of having the attitude that was, man, you're just bullying your students. That doesn't make. But so I almost left, but I did. And I stayed. I went back again.
Before I was gonna ask, did you already know about Muay Thai at that time or is it just like
No, not really. That was my
you only
first,
learned it when you were in the military?
That was my first.
In Thailand.
That was my first real. That was my first time I trained Muay Thai.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you've already seen it.
I'd seen it, but but
But you didn't know it.
right.
Yeah. You didn't even know there was boxing at that time, did you?
Oh yeah, no, I started boxing. I started boxing when I was 11.
No, I mean in Muay Thai, like they had an actual boxing ring in Muay Thai.
Yeah,
In
I'd-
Thailand.
Yeah,
When you were over there, did
yeah.
you?
I'd seen that.
Okay,
but
so
yeah.
you did see that.
Um,
So this is their introduction of training
me
with
training
Arjun
in
Chun.
Muay Thai, training with Arjun Chai,
Okay.
right. So then I went to another seminar, probably maybe 4 to 6 months later in Oklahoma. And I don't remember, God, where was it? I know it was in Oklahoma. But anyway, and of course there we started off with marching, and we
Marching again.
for seemed like another half hour, but it was probably 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So man, but I understood why he was having us do that.
At that
Or
time.
I think I understood it on a low level as to why,
Okay.
because yeah, he really wants you to have that ingrained.
So at that time, what did you thought it was?
And well,
The marching. What was the reason
what was
at that
it
time?
for? Was to get people to understand to keep their hands up and to have that rhythm, that Muay Thai rhythm.
At that time, that's what you were.
Yeah,
okay.
just the same thing. You know, they played the music and
Yeah.
you sort of marching at the same beat of the music.
But there was more to it later on.
Yeah, absolutely. Keeping your hands up, rotating your hands in the proper position so that we're holding your base right.
It all mattered.
Keeping your foot where it's supposed to be, or your feet in relationship to your center of gravity, and
Right.
those kinds of things.
But that's stuff that
And
you didn't
then-
realize at that time yet.
No, I understood that's why we were doing that.
Okay. So you knew the rhythm.
But we started, and the second one that we went to, we started off, he was working on timing for the kick. Which leg do you kick with, and when do you kick? And so we drilled that for probably an hour or longer.
Now, did you at that time knew that there was actual good timing and speed and all that with kicking at that time, or you already knew that?
Yeah,
with other martial
yeah,
arts?
I knew that, but I'd never seen it taught this way.
Okay.
You know, nobody teaches timing. You learn timing by doing the drills, and then you spar it. You know, oh, hey, time him. What do you mean time him?
Yeah.
Well, as soon as his punch comes, you slip and you hit him. You know, you got to get the right time. Okay.
But never like this way.
He was teaching us when to kick that leg,
Now that was different for you.
and that was different. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
so,
awesome.
But the way that he was teaching it didn't correlate directly into a kick. Am I kicking right here, right now? And he was saying, well, this is the way your kick would be. So anyway, it was more of reaching out and touching this leg with your foot, or with your big toe, or whatever, the ball of your foot.
Yeah.
So we did that a lot.
Cool. It's teaching you timing.
But as far as for me being ready to have that for Muay Thai, I wasn't ready for it, but still learning something.
Yeah. But you kept up with it.
Oh yeah.
You know, instead of just
then-
being pissed off about some one little thing about.
Yeah.
You stayed with it.
And yeah, stayed with it. And then we did some other drills and stuff. We did some punching drills, elbow drills. And while doing all of that, he's talking to people, cracking jokes, making it fun,
Yeah.
yet being very strict on
The training.
the training itself, and very strict on. I mean, he made people do push-ups. If your heels hit the ground, that was 30 push-ups. If you
He's done it with you in front of us.
Oh yeah, if your heels hit the ground a second time, that's another 30 push-ups, dude. You know, it's like, man, you want to do push-ups? All right, get your heels off the ground.
He's awesome.
And so and his big thing is discipline, conditioning, respect, discipline, condition. That's his big things.
Yeah.
You know, and discipline. In order to be a good athlete, you have to be disciplined.
Right.
In order to be, I think, really, when you get down to it, to be a good human being, you have to be disciplined.
Yeah.
To have,
Yeah, but some people don't realize that. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna say there are a lot of
Yeah.
people out there don't realize that.
you know, to have good integrity, you have to be disciplined.
Mhm.
You know, so that's part of his thing. He's constantly teaching
Is it time
discipline. He's constantly teaching discipline and respect, and then of course conditioning.
already? Yeah.
And the conditioning is not just your body, but your mind and your spirit. How much heart do you have?
Right.
And so that's his pad work again, and he's, hitting people and kicking them, and and that said all this other good training is so good, and then he turns around and he does this, and it just again,
And that time you still didn't
I
understand.
still don't understand.
Okay.
Yeah, he's working on discipline, but the big thing was that he's working on you always protect yourself. Never ever drop your hands. Don't drop your guard. Be aware of everything that's happening around you
Yeah.
when you're in a self-defense situation. And if you're in the ring, you protect yourself at all times.
Right. Check the kicks. And all.
Don't trust me.
Oh, no, you didn't.
I will kick you, sir. I will punch you, sir. And at the time, I didn't realize that that's what he.
That's what he told you?
No. At the time, I didn't realize that's what he was teaching.
Okay.
And so these guys were dropping their hands. So he hit them.
Yeah.
Always protect yourself. And you see it today, even with boxing matches, in MMA, guys walk out, drop their hand down, go to touch gloves with somebody, and the other guy hits them.
Right.
And so he's using that as a way to always protect yourself.
Yeah.
Always. So once I understood that, then I said, okay, I understand why he's doing what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
But when at first I didn't, I was like, man, you're just beating up people for the sake of beating up. You just punched them because you wanted to.
It looked like that.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like to me. But,
Yeah.
Once I realized that he really cares, and he
Yeah.
cares so much that, he said, if I have to punch you to stop you from dropping your hands, then I'm going to punch you.
Mm.
If
Yeah.
you won't protect yourself, I'm going to hit you until you protect yourself.
So when did you have your time? He hit pads for you, and did all that
several
with you?
Several times. Oh yeah.
He did that with you.
And he's so quick, and of course, the pad holder.
I mean, he was an ex-Thai fighter, right?
Yeah,
but
the pad holder
He's teaching.
dictates the pace at which you go.
Yeah.
He also knows where you're going. So it's really easy to counter you if
Yeah.
you know which punch is coming and when it's coming. When do you know it's coming? Now, because he's putting the pad there, right?
Right.
So, yeah, it's very easy to, and it's funny how many people get just, oh man, he's so fast. Well, yeah, he is fast. He's very, very quick, but he also knows when you're going to punch.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's
Plus,
stacked.
he is a fighter. He knows how to time you.
Well, it's stacked against you.
Yeah.
So, but it makes you quicker.
Yeah.
It makes you cover up. So, yeah, and now after all these years of training with him, I just my respect for him as an instructor is of the highest regard. There's so many people that look at Muay Thai as just being tough
Yeah.
and learning the timing of punches and kicking. Well, he understands angles. He understands where your foot position should be, and why your foot position should be there. Where are you in relationship to that other person?
He's one of those detailed guys too.
Very, very detailed in all of that.
Yeah, and I've got that from him from training with him.
Yeah, I want you to look like a Muay Thai fighter. Your form is very, very important. And it's important because this is how we use your weapons.
Yeah.
If your form is not right, you're not going to be able to use your weapon because you're in the wrong place. So, he's very, very precise with those things.
Yeah.
So, the one thing about the Thai Boxing Association people is that those that are well trained under him are very well trained.
Right, and they got some fighters out there that's winning championships right now.
Absolutely.
Ryan Popejoy's got one.
Yeah. So a lot of his underlings, yeah.
Greg
now
Nelson,
have brought up
MMA
tremendous
fighters.
people. Oh yeah, so he's touched a lot of people throughout the world, in the Muay Thai world as well as MMA.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
He's got some
And
pedigree.
he's very inspirational.
Dallas Cowboys. Tell us about that.
Well, I know that he through Guru Dan, he trained. It was off-season training for the Dallas Cowboys.
That's crazy. How he actually got to train the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, Randy White, who's one of the Hall of Famers,
Yeah.
tight end, actually became an instructor under him.
Wow. Didn't even know that.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome. Now, I was going to ask you, with all the instructors too on Bill, C.I.A Conference Wong, Arjun Chai, like how you also train law enforcement and military. Did they do the same?
Yeah, well, Bill was a state police officer, and then he ended up being in the court system, and so he became a court officer. And he was a police defense tactics instructor and firearm instructor. So yeah, he taught a lot of the police department, and I think a lot of the way that he teaches today is based upon how he taught the police officers.
Okay.
And one of the differences is that you have a couple of hours to teach a police officer, or his teachings to those officers were a few hours long.
Mhm.
And how do you teach a lot of material to them that's useful to them right now
Yeah, yeah.
in a very short period of time,
Yeah. That
versus
mentality.
learning to,
Yeah.
to teach a whole system.
Mhm.
So that mentality of being able to do that, and then to how to correlate across different types of weapon categories and stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, he's gotten really good at doing that. So he's changed the way that he teaches Pekiti because of that understanding. Hey, I can make these guys understand this and get better at it and have greater skills in a much shorter period of time
Yeah.
through those kinds of things.
That's good.
And then Sifu Fong, yeah, same thing. Taught. He helped write the part of the defense tactics of the Rangers out of Fort Bragg.
I've seen
actually-
pictures of that, but I didn't know what exactly he was doing. I
Yeah.
just thought it was just like a photo op.
No, he taught them for
Taught them
a
a defensive
number of times, yeah, and then
for
helped
Fort
write-
Benning Rangers.
Mhm.
Wow. So that means even to this day they're using Wing Chun curriculum.
I'm not going to say that
No, I
they're using Wing
shouldn't say
Chun
that,
curriculum.
yeah, right.
I think he used different pieces of the Wing Chun system
Right. There you go. Yeah.
to teach them things and how to use their body in a very short period of time. You know, because Wing Chun takes a while to learn.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
and again, the same thing. When you look at military and police training, you have people who need to use this maybe tomorrow or maybe next week,
Mhm.
and we're only going to be training for a couple hours.
Yeah.
So how do you train those people to have something that's usable
Yeah.
now,
And then that way they can train together with their guys.
not something that, well, or they may have to use it now.
Yeah.
They're leaving this training, they go out on the street. They're leaving this training, they would be called to go fight a war.
Right.
So they need to have something that they can use almost immediately.
Yeah.
So
But
it
that's
has,
cool.
So it has to be pretty simple,
That-
has to be direct, has to be transferable to a lot of people in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
And there are aspects of Wing Chun that you can do that with, and there's
Right.
some. So you're not learning, excuse me, ugh, you're not learning a whole
Is
system.
it that time yet? Wow, it's been.
You're not learning a whole system. You're
You've been on
learning.
it for a while.
You're learning how to take a piece of the system and apply it in a very, very short period of time to somebody.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's done a lot of that kind of training, and I
Didn't-
think he's
that's-
used some of that knowledge
Yeah.
in training other people. So
I mean, I'm shocked, you know, because even if that means it shows you his pedigree of skills. If the Rangers are at like Fort
Sure,
Benning Rangers
sure.
actually using some of his curriculum.
sure,
So
absolutely.
it shows a lot the lineage, the pedigree of the trainers that you had, you know, in Argentina and all that, you know. So
Yeah, I've been
and then Coach
less than
Eric
honored.
Paulson.
And then Coach Paulson, you know, and it's funny. I was asked to go train with Coach Paulson for a number of years, and just kind of always on the back burner. You can't do everything, you know. And always on the back burner. And so, okay, so finally one day I kind of said, all right, let's go train with him. And I was like, man, you're a fool. You should have been training with him years ago. So
He's really good.
he's excellent. He's very, very good. And he's a good person, again, you
Yeah.
know. So, yeah, it was.
And training with him was how was that?
Again, all of my training, other than the boxing
In the beginning, I mean.
and Shotokan, was all long distance training. So having to travel, bringing them in, doing a seminar, taking the material and working it. He's so knowledgeable.
Yeah.
And the one thing that now the training under Eric has been after decades of having other training. So I bring that to the game already. Knowing how to learn, makes a big difference too, you know.
Yeah.
When you're a clean slate, it's hard to learn. When you learned a whole lot of stuff already, makes it easier to learn.
Yeah.
So having that knowledge already made it easy to learn from him. But he's also very good at being able to break things down
Yeah.
to very simple
Yeah.
things, and then come back up and re-engineer it back into and you go, oh.
And he's also a component of mixing different types of systems.
Yeah, he's
together
got a
also.
tremendous pedigree as far as
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the number of artists that he's trained in.
And
everything, so.
he's a fighter. He's a fighter to himself. So.
Yep, he fought for many years. Shoot fighter.
Shoot fighter. Really good at it.
Yep.
But yeah, let's cut this one off for today.
I think we're done.
Yeah.
Cool.